So a coach, if you are doing your CHRP, you might find that if you come to the College of Human Resources, I lecture coaching there. So sometimes I hold a red pen, today I hold a blue pen, just also to make sure that we can be able to have those connections. We make sure that people are also getting their goals of doing CHRP. So welcome, karibuni sana. Anyone who would like to introduce themselves, just say your name and your expectations for this training. I'll call out because we are very few. We're able to interact. Salima, Inderito, Olivia, what are your expectations for today before we pray? Anyone? Feel free to unmute. Rosalie, Semina.
Hi, Ms. Catherine. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Salima. Mm-hmm. I have been attending your trainings very often. Work at Elite. And effective goal setting, I think it's a very good topic in the beginning of the year, considering the fact that we are trying to see what objectives we are trying to achieve personally as well as professionally. So it's a good time to have this training to be able to understand how we can do that effectively and monitor them over the period of year, and obviously be able to also analyze them by the end of the year. So I think it's a good timing to have this training at this point in time of the year. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. At the beginning of the year, we make goals. We have targets to meet. So how do we set them and how do we go along? And I like what you have said. It's not just from a career, professional point of view, but also from a personal point of view, because those two go hand in hand. You would want to work in a place or whatever, whether you're in business, that those two are really converging together. Your personal, professional goals, whatever objectives or targets have been set by your employer, they really resonate with you because you are an expert, you enjoy doing them, they are challenging for you, and you can see the bigger picture and how now they come together to effectively meet your personal goals. So I like that. Yeah. Someone else? Derito? Olivia, Rosaline, yeah. Mm-hmm. Expectation is to learn more. Especially when signed an activity for a larger group. Okay, yeah. So how do we effectively make sure that the group maybe is of the same mind, they are pulling together, you measure that goal. What sometimes we can have many, but we know who is really good at a certain area, and you want to assign that person, and how do we the other people feel? How do we make it all inclusive? It's a department. We have this goal that we want to achieve. So, and I know many organizations, and the new world order is to give a team goal, not just individual goals, but a team goal to enhance the synergies, to bring in diversity, greater deliberations, brainstorming, and to bring group cohesiveness to achieve this goal. And it sometimes becomes very competitive in a nice way because we want our department to win and we want to make sure that we can fetch that bonus sometimes. And it's a good motivation, what is the reward that I will be given at the end. So that plays a big part, and we'll be able to discuss that as well. Anybody else? Thank you, Derito, for that. Anybody else? Olivia, Rosaline, goal setting, your expectations for this year. Have you set a goal already and it's already done, achieved? Well done, if it's already achieved. Or did you set a goal and it's you find it's too hard to do? We'll discuss all that. Okay, great. So let's begin with a word of prayer. Allow me to pray. Let's pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we come in front of you this morning with thanksgiving in our hearts. We thank you, God, for giving us the opportunity to come and learn and share our experiences on how we set goals how goals are important to us, how we've been able to articulate them, and also what some of the challenges that we have gone through and how we have been able to surmount them. We ask you, Lord, that you set a time aside for us for learning. And God, even as we learn and that God, you are going to be with us. And when we finish this training, we remember to give you glory and honor. I pray for all the participants. I pray for ACHRP for making this possible. And God, even as we set the goals for this year, you will be able to be with us as we accomplish them. In Jesus' name I pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Thank you. So my question this morning, as I put up my screen share, is we feel that there is a difference between goals and making resolutions. Is there a difference? Goals and making resolutions? Anyone? Can unmute yourself. I'm making New Year's resolutions. I will stop drinking sugar. I will drink more water. I'll exercise more. I will save more. I'm making a resolution that I will reach out to my friends more. I'm not very good at that. You know, is there a difference between setting a goal and making a resolution? Have you ever thought about it like that? Anyone? Feel free to unmute yourself. Anyone? You can type it on the chat. I'm trying to bring you guys to the panelist list so that you participate, so that I'm not the only one talking. You don't want me to be the only one talking and you have something to share. So if you can accept to come to the panelist list to be able to unmute yourself and share. Anyone? Difference between making a resolution and goal setting? You feel that there is Salima, are you able to try or tell us what it is? Rosaline, Oliver, Derito, Betty? Right? I just thought, well, when I thought resolution this year, always making resolutions, you know. Maybe you made one 5 years ago, like politicians, and say when it comes to the next cycle, when we'll be doing elections, I want my name to be in the ballot paper. I've made a resolution and I'm eyeing it in another 5 years. Is there a difference? Anyone? One who would like to try and see how it is? Anyone? Okay. What's a resolution? I'll pack that towards the end. I will still hold you accountable to that. You see, goal setting is all about holding people accountable. So I will still hold you accountable to that question that you reflect through, and maybe you will have some bit of more clarity as we go along. So let's look at our course objectives, and it's almost to what you guys have alluded to, introduction and importance of effective personal goal setting, types of goals, working on a goal setting, how to really put it into action, achieving your goal, you know, and how do you feel when you achieve your goal? We'll look at a case study if time permits, and goal setting questions and answers worksheet. So what I'd like to say is that the notes will be available on the LMS for ACHRP. So the notes are rich. You can refer to them from time to time. Please feel free. They'll be posted as soon as this webinar is over. Okay. So what is a goal? What's a goal, guys? Unmute yourself, please, so that I'm not the only one who's going through and through. What is a goal? How do you set a goal? What's your goal in life? Have you set new goals in this the beginning of the year? And many companies, if they have a financial year, January, a calendar financial year, January through December, I know now the auditors are hard at work closing the financials. But from a HR perspective, we start doing the annual appraisals, from October, so that December we are ready with the results. And if there are any decisions, many decisions like training, training needs analysis, we do that. If there are any bonuses to be paid to employees who have done exemplary well, or if there are also things people have asked for a promotion or reorganization, there's on to that. So we set goals for the next year. And then, of course, now we are looking at the goals that you have achieved, and then again, set goals for the next year, making sure that we are looking into the company strategy, what we really want to achieve. That becomes, and of course, as an individual, like Salima said, is at the end of the year, you also take stock. What did I set out to do? What was I able to achieve? What were some of the challenges? Why didn't I achieve that? So what's a goal, guys? What's a goal? What's a goal? Welcome to the people who joined us. What's a goal, in your opinion? Trying to promote everyone to be a panelist. If you see that, please accept. That's the only way you're able to unmute yourself and speak. Welcome, Winnie and Maggie. What's a goal? What's a goal? What have you done in the past to get to your goal? Thank you. Nerito, what's a goal? Winnie, what's a goal? Maggie, what's a goal? What do you think a goal is?
Good morning, Catherine and
Morning.
everyone.
Yeah, morning.
A goal is something that you set your eyes on, something that you want to achieve.
Bullseye, yes, something that you really want to achieve that is very, very tangible. It's tangible. Sometimes you can actually see it, and sometimes it can also be intangible, but you can feel it, it resonates, it comes out, you alluding to it, you're feeling it, and you are going after it, you're actually setting and making sure that you see you really want to knock it and you want to achieve it. Yeah, thank you. So my first question before you joined Maggie and Winnie, I also asked what is there a difference between making a resolution and setting a goal? I'm making a resolution here that I want to lose weight. I want to go to the gym more. I am making a resolution that I will what is it that we like to make New Year's resolutions? I'll check out on my family more. I'll be a better friend. I'll be a better colleague. Is there a difference? Between making a resolutions and setting a goal? Is that a goal? New Year's resolutions, we've made them.
Yes, Catherine.
Yeah.
Somehow there's a difference. Because most of the time when we make resolutions, we don't put them being measurable. Just say, I want to be a better wife, I want to be a better mother, but you don't put in the indicators that the way you're going to measure what is being a good mother, what is being a good person, what is being a good employee. But for goals, you sit down and specifically write down something that is smart, something that is specific, something that you can be able to measure, something you also give yourself a timeline. So I think that's a difference between a resolution and a goal. Sometimes resolution, we make them out of excitement.
Make them out of excitement, that
Yes.
it's a new cycle, it's tradition, it's tradition. Because at the new year we want to do this, we want to do that. And if you're a Christian, one of the things that I've also come to see a lot over the last couple of we've set aside January as fasting month, to do that. I don't know whether you've picked it up, that it's becoming more common, and also churches are encouraging that. However, Maggie, I would like to flip it over and ask you, because it's important. We put that in our heads because it's tradition. And more healthy. I want to lose weight. I want to be a better spouse. I want to, whatever it is, it is. But in the real sense of it, it's a goal. Let's say I want to lose, I want to become. So why don't you quantify it so that you keep tabs of what it is? Or is it because then it's so well, we do this, and after 21 days, if it has not become anchored in us, it becomes a habit and I can revert back? We were just talking about this very, very in a roundtable, and saying that resolutions really also speak to what kind of a person. If you're you will put it down and say, if I want to become a better, let's say I want to lose weight, or I want to become fit, not even lose weight. Lose weight is a different ballgame. Let's say I want to become fit. Why do you want to become fit? Ask that question. So how am I going to become fit? Ask that, put it down. How am I going, what lifestyle do I need to change? If I'm going to the gym, how much does it cost me for that? So the thing is that human beings, we don't want to take the hard work to take it out and put it down on paper. Things that we know are important to us, because we think, I know how to do it. And then that is why it fizzles out. And then at the end of the year, you wonder, oh my God, do it. And I had the opportunity to do it, and I lost the opportunity because you were not committed enough to be able to do it. Because it's good to have, but you have no commitment. If you did have commitment, indeed, you would take it, write it down, and break it down, even to quarters or even monthly, and go back and check. The same thing is that then we actually, the little case study we were doing, it actually flipped over, and we said, if it was at your place of work, or if you're the employer, you actually write it down. Why do you write it down? We concluded there are two things why we write it down. Because it is policy that we set those goals, and we must do them, well, especially if it's a bad employer who makes you do it. And secondly, is because you want to be held accountable, and you want to come and show, this is what I achieved at the end of the year. So how about we would be better human beings if we worked on our own personal goals, which would reflect into our professional goals. But sometimes it's on the flip side, is that we work so much on our professional goals because that is where we get bread and butter, and we forget to work on our own personal goals, and with the kind of importance and commitment that we do with our professional goals. So if we were to flip it just a little, and that's for me, it was because we were saying, what is my personal goals this year? And we were forced to write them down and commit to them, and also take up accountability partners, because then we want to make sure that that is happening. And it was really profound, just for the fact that we do that. And even, I don't know whether you saw our WhatsApp book, in WhatsApp groups, maybe the ones you belong to. At the beginning of the year, there was a book that was sent on how to maximize your own goals, personal goals, and how to break them down and whatever. If you didn't, I hope I can find it and I can send it to you guys. I think it was really a nice book, that worksheet actually, that you can go and feel and look at it and articulate your goals and stuff like that. If we are going to buy a big ticket item, let's say a tangible ticket item. Let's say I want to buy a home for my family. We want to buy a car. We want to go back to school. How do you come up with such goals? Important. I know maybe you come and say, by the end of this year, are we able to put down our deposit for a house, and you start maybe house hunting and you have it in your head. How about putting it down and visualizing, what kind of a home do you want? Which area would you like to live in? Because these are long-term decisions and lifetime decisions. You can always sell a house, you can sell a car, you can do many other things. You're not a tree, you can always uproot and go if you don't like it. But the amount of money that you spend in some of these would like to do really need a lot of clarity. Why would I like to buy a certain model of a car? How much is it? What is the service? We don't go into that intricacies, but that class really taught me that you have to make even buying a house, what kind of neighborhood, what kind of lifestyle do we want to live? Do we have small children? Are they going to have people to interact with, people to play with? How many rooms are we looking at our extended families? I mean, it was mind-blowing, you would just think, but I know these things, but the little things that we overlook sometimes really add up to what we really want to achieve. So it's important for us to put it down and say articulately what we want to achieve and how we are going to achieve it. Anyone who would like to contribute a resolution and a goal now? Very big, whatever, just write it down and see how it's going. Maggie, any contribution there? Any more contribution there? Okay. So let's look at the goal. Yeah. What has happened to my slide? Okay. But I'll read it from my notes. Okay. So the importance of what if you were to know what would happen tomorrow? What if you were to set goals and say what is what? So we say that what an individual is trying to accomplish through his or her behavior and actions, or the purpose towards which an endeavor is directed, an end or an objective, that's a goal. What you're trying to achieve as an individual, accomplished through your behavior and actions. You can be given a goal of, let's say you have head count of, you've been given head count of 20 people. And let's say, I'm assuming from a HR point of view, and this head count is, you need to bring it in the first quarter of the year. Recruiting 20 people suitable for your business is not it's not a mean fate. You have to really work hard towards it. So while we are saying through your behavior and actions, the moment you see from the board, 20 people within 3 months, how am I going to do it? Read their behavior. How are we going to do it? They didn't even think that by the time I start, all what I will be doing is behavior. You're already starting to think it is. Instead of coming and saying it is not achievable, these people, all the 20 people, will only be able, when I look at it practically and put it down and break it down one by one, you can only say, I'll only be able to bring the last person in the half year in June. And then you go back and negotiate and say, why is it June? You go back to the line managers and say, which ones should we prioritize and whatever. But if you already start making an assumption and feeling bad about it, instead of saying, yes, we'll be welcoming 20 people into the business. We are so happy. We've had so much pressure from people being stretched and doing a lot of work for 2 people. Now we have this. You are already looking at, oh my gosh, 20 people and they can't even think about it. How about changing the narrative? 20 people into our business, they will come and support the business. We are very excited to work, but wait, 20 people cannot come by March. we need to go back to the drawing board and see how best to down with a bit of practical actions and to see where it is, so that you all align. So your behaviors and actions actually talk into how much you're going to achieve your goal. So it's a purpose towards which an endeavor is directed, an end, what do you want to see in the end? An objective, someone said already, it's an objective that we want to achieve. So that's a goal. Are very exciting. Some goals are very, they have an uphill task that accomplish them. And the thing is that no board relents in this world, I can tell you. Even when you talk about your organizations or the businesses that you have, it's always incremental, and you just think, oh my gosh, that was so difficult. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? How are we going to incrementally of what it is, okay? So I'll give you anybody to react to that. Anybody? Okay. So what is goal setting? A theory that focuses on identifying the type of goals which are most effective in producing high levels of motivation and performance, and why have these effects. What are we high levels of performance? And when we are discussing this, don't just think about the workplace, think about your own personal goals as well. Types of goals that you want to achieve that really produce the most effective ones. Don't be too drawn into small little goals. Aim high of what it is. I was speaking to my friend who works in a bank, and I will not say which bank. And she was telling me the way they've been given very high goals, unfortunately. And one of the things that she made a comment that was very interesting. And she says, let's call her Bank A, and she was referencing another bank called Bank B. So as I said, goals will always be increased. We've achieved, we want to achieve a 20% growth. The next year it will be even taken to 22%. That 2% that has been put on top is an uphill task for all of us, not just the salespeople who bring in the products and who bring in the sales into the company. Bank A, Bank B took into consideration that this is an election year in Kenya. And what happens is that there's a lot of uncertainty, and businesses' productivity tends to go down, and people really are cautious about using their money because they don't know about an election year in Kenya. We've made it like that, unfortunately. What Bank D did was to give their objectives and the targets of everybody in Bank B, targets which would actually shoulder them during this election year. How smart. And of course, people were very apprehensive. People said the targets are too high, but they said, look, guys, we want you guys to have an easy year in 2022. We know elections are coming. It might not be easy for you guys to, or us as a bank, to be able to push the figures that have been given to the board. So let's push this year. And they all were in agreement. And next year you'll give us, we will be able to have a sigh of relief around this, whatever. And they pushed all out. And I'm telling you, the results that they advertised, they released for half year were actually so commendable. Everybody was thinking, oh my gosh, what did you do? So what did Bank A do, where my friend works? They never thought about it like that. So this year they actually said, if this is what Bank B is doing, how about replicating that? No. Always the first thing management sometimes is so quick to say no. So unfortunately now they are bearing the brunt, and they can also see that this year definitely is going to be an uphill task. So even as we make our goals, what I'm trying to say is that read the environment, read the market, see where your products and services are best thrive. In COVID, we know what happened in COVID. We had all these rosy plants in January. They were thrown out and out of the window, because we got into a pandemic. We all were looking and saying, well, all what we want to do is survive as human beings and these goals. And so, unfortunately, some companies had to close down. Some of us lost jobs, or we know people who lost jobs. I mean, 2020, it was a difficult. So sometimes we do not anticipate some of those things. They will just come immediately first without us having any intention that was coming. But when we have the opportunity to plan and hedge and understand the market and environment, let us be the ones doing that. Are you able to go back and say, oh my gosh, now I see things differently. I'll be able to do this and do that and whatever it is. So I think that is very important for us to understand. So goal setting really where we are most effective. So don't give people where you know that they will not be effective. You know that Catherine is not good at policy formulation. And one of the things that we need to do in this year is formulate policies. But Maggie is so good at it. Let Maggie win. Don't also make people fail. I think we need to agree that people need to be successful in wherever and whatever they do. So that's very important that we're able to do that. So we go on to say that goal setting in broad terms is the process of on something you want, planning on how to get it, and then working towards that objective. Goal setting is not wishing or dreaming. We like to do that. It is something that is progressively worked towards. Goal setting is something that you decided, or you're not deciding on a whim. I'm going to lose weight this year. Emotional. I'm going to become a better spouse. I'm going to call my mother more. It has to be purposeful. It's something you decide on. And when you decide on, you commit to it. That's the most important thing. So most of the time is from a personal point of view, is our goal setting our only wishes and dreams. Sounds bad coming from me. Even me, I do that all the time. But when I thought about it, when we went for that 1-day training on goal setting about wishing and dreaming, I just said, no, something gonna change. That resolution that you make, okay, like Maggie said, we're always so excited. Yeah, New Year, we double high five, we're excited, we make it, and we make it with a lot of emotions, happiness, and we don't know what we've gotten ourselves in. So it is something that we really decide. You want it so bad, how to get it, and then you work towards that objective. So let's not wish, let's not dream. Dreams are valid, if we can only actualize them into something, we plan around it and we work towards it. Question, any comments, any input before we move on? Please unmute. Let me know. Please unmute. Someone would like to contribute to what I have said, to what you know about goal setting. We have a plan on how to get there. Anyone? Maggie, Olivia, Winnie, Derito, Powell, Patricia, Salim. Anyone? Rose? Anyone who would like to contribute and have yes. Hello?
Rosogata here.
Yeah.
And as we progress with this discussion, just curious to know how this personal goal setting can be integrated, especially with the broader objectives of the organization, especially in regard to skills analysis and personal goals for staff. when you find, for instance, the institution has this gap, but then the staff has a different path they want to take in regard to their personal goal setting. I mean, how can we integrate this so that both of us benefit?
How can we do that, guys? Welcome, Rose. Actually, just talked a little bit about that when we began. Someone, how can we make sure that the personal goals of employees are actually integrating into the larger goals of the organization so that they are seamless and people feel motivated and with enthusiasm to work towards that? My personal goals and my expertise, my skills, all coming together, and it's seamless, it's happy. Isn't that what you're asking, Rose?
Yes, for instance, I'll give a very specific example.
Yeah.
You find a staff is, for instance, a security guard or a security officer.
Yeah.
But they are pursuing a diploma, for instance, in animal production. You get that?
I get that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, an animal production company.
You don't have a current need in that animal production.
Okay, so why did they go to, if I'm using my coaching hat, what led them to animal production?
Somebody will tell you that this is my dream. This is what I want to. This is the line I want to.
And then my next question is that, how would you like the organization to assist you in this, in your desire and in your passion of animal production?
Sorry?
How would they want the organization, if we ask them, how would you want the organization to assist you as you study and as you become an expert in animal production? Taken into context that our organization is, let's say we all work at ACHRP. This is a training institution, isn't it? So all of us, if the 15 of us here would actually be, maybe some of us are salespeople to go and look for clients to train. Some of us are in HR looking after us. Someone is in finance. Many are trainers, for example, because that is our core business, isn't it? And let's say you, Rose, you've decided to go and you want to go to animal production, animal husbandry, whatever it is called, and you want to go into agriculture, let's call it, or livestock development. So how would we support Rose achieve her dreams as a good employer? What would we do, guys? How do we help Rose achieve her dreams of, she's gone very, she's come to work with us, maybe that's the only job she got. Let's even talk about Rose. Maybe she's our receptionist, but her desire is to be in the livestock sector. And she's actually enrolled at Kabete campus to go and do that course in the evening. What can we do? And we just think, Rose, what are you doing? Isn't that the first thing we've thrown about? We just think you off tangent. Umeenda tu kufanya animals, study animals. How are you going to help in this company? But that is where her desire and passion is. How would we help Rose? Someone? What can we do for Rose? And there are many people like that in organizations. It's a good question. How would we help her?
Hi, morning. This is Winnie.
Yeah.
So, of course, that happens. Of course, every employer's dream is to have employees who pick something that is in tandem with what they are doing. But sometimes people pick something different. And how we can assist them, I think, is sometimes just allowing them to, because if that is their dream, then it is their dream. And we can support them by giving them, some time away to just go to school. That is one way. Maybe if there's, I know most companies also offer financial support when it's related to the job.
So, but others, few ones, offer support for as long as it's a personal plan that you have first, of course, because you're going to pay it back. So if there's a way also of offering financial support, that could also be another way.
Yeah. Thank you, Winnie. Yeah. Allow them to go to school as when is required. Offer support if you are capable of doing that. Yeah. Someone else, what can we do? Different, very different. Other ways would be if progressively work within your networks, you have to bring the people's agenda to the table with a lot of urgency and with a lot of thought around the people agenda in your organization. And let me tell you, the way to be a successful business is not to shy away from looking at other people's needs which are not in business. You'll become more successful, you become a better brand, and people will believe in you and will do more. And I can tell you for a fact. So I am going to do livestock management while our company does training. And let's not talk about money, which is always very scarce. So if we give people time and say, Rose wants to go and do animal production, put it as an agenda. We are going to give her time off like anybody else. We are going to network as anybody in the organization of saying, oh, by the way, I know a friend who works somewhere and I can help her either to get internship, either to earn her way through an interview, help her, train her in the soft skills, do over and above. I keep on saying that we should not be so stuck up because someone has asked for a course that is so off from what we do as a company that would help them achieve their passion and their goals. One of the things that we have to agree as HR practitioners, if you are a HR practitioner here, or even if you have your business, we must train for Africa. Because if you train and you're able to train with things that are not in your business, if you're able to make that sacrifice, can you imagine how Rose will always be singing of your praises? If someone, they meet someone and say, oh, you're applying at SCHRP, it's fantastic. This is what they did to me. Just one person talking good about your brand, the snowball effect is over and over again. But some of us are always saying, no, we do not train. That is not in our line. And I totally agree, because budgets are always scarce and they are rare and they have to be used prudently. But there are many other things that we can do. We can link a person to those networks that we have. We can make sure that they are getting the opportunity. We even give them time of 3 months. You go for an internship there. I know actually of an organization that takes you to school and gets you internship for 3 months. You go train there and come back. I did consultancy for them, and it was people do is very different. And they have young people, that young people are always coming from one job to another. No, they don't. They're a software development company and people want to stay there. They are not known. They're a very good social enterprise, but the model that they have taken is extremely different. So the other thing is that I'm already working there. Just to reference to Rose's question, is that I'm already working here. How do my desires, my goals, my aspirations, I don't see them very much resonating. We must make sure that from the time we do the job advert, when we're advertising for this job, our recruitment process is so clear for us to make sure that Catherine's dreams, aspirations, hopes, and desires are in tune with what our business does. It takes more time. What do you want to, Catherine, you are applying for this job. Yes, we can see you have the skill, but what is your long-term goal? What would you like to do that would help you achieve those goals. We never ask people those questions. It's time to change the narrative and focus more on the person, and then we will be able now to talk about the business. We always say, what will you do for the business? That is where, and what will we do for you? I saw another job advert, and people have started doing that, is that this is what we need from you. We need this expertise, we need this. And then in turn, they are saying, this is what we will do to you. We will not just pay you a good salary, whatever a good salary is to all of us, but we'll do much more. We'll be able to train you. We'll be able to look after your interests and whatever. Really profound. I just thought, what? I wish I had known this, because then we now start changing and saying, we are meeting each other in the middle. You have these goals, I have these goals. How do they come together? And for me, even as an individual, when applying for a job, do the values of this company resonate with me as an individual? If I don't believe in their values, I should not go there. I should not antagonizing them because, oh, well, this company does not understand, just because you wanted a job. The need, of course, the demand is more, the supply is more than the demand, unfortunately, in our country, in terms of how many jobs we can get. But still, also as people, when we think about our goals, our personal goals, is this company going to assist me? So it's a two-way traffic, Rose, and it's hard to balance, because most of the time because it's always want to be the ones ripping off and coming out stronger and making sure that they are doing what requires to be done. The shareholders are asking for their dividends. The board is asking for that. So we forget the people agenda, and I just come thinking, oh, we are not on the same page. We need to do something about it. So sometimes it's important for us just to look at that aspect and say, how are we going to be better? Can we do just, if you're a company that says that we don't give time off for people who are doing things different compared to what our business done, how about starting to say, well, they are doing dressmaking. They want to become a fashion designer. They need to go to school in the evening. By all means, go. Just one small win. If you're already doing that and say, come, if it's not in line with exams, with what we are doing as a business, we will not give you 3 days for exams. While you really have a policy, how about start saying, whatever you are doing when you have exams, you have brought the timetable, take time off, because we have study leave days, take them off. If budget's permitting and saying, well, we're able to pay for you maybe just one semester, you have 4 years of study, it takes a big whatever, and you retain people. And then if you're able to network them to other people, to other companies, for them to be able to get the practical aspect, by all means, do it. There are many people who are doing that. So it's bringing the people agenda quickly and with urgency to the table this year. Your goal as HR this year is to bring the people's agenda to the table at your ESCOM or SMT or whatever management meetings, whatever you the table, and articulate those issues. Goal setting will become more, planning will become more efficient, high levels of motivation and performance. Don't take anything else, then let's take those three words of what it is. Rose, any feedback? Do you get some points there?
I'm okay. Well guided. Thank you.
Well guided. I'd like to put an input, a question. I like that question. I think it's important, and it's what it is. People want to feel the connection, the collaboration between the company and myself. How do we collaborate as two individuals too? And then also the connection that we are going to form from the very beginning. Okay, let's move on. Any question, any comments? Please feel free. So what's the importance of goal setting? There can be as many as we are on this on this table, importance of goal setting. Someone unmute yourself, just give us one. Now that we have the definition of goal setting, what's the importance? Why is it important for us to achieve goals? Someone? So why is it important when we set goals? So what is important? So every organization, whether it's non-profit, for-profit, in individuals, has both an overall mission statement, isn't it? A corporate mission statement that drives the objectives, your strategy. But along with the mission and vision statement, needs to develop and implement sound goals and objectives for achievement. Without goals to achieve, you're just like a boat in an open ocean without a sail to be tossed and carried away anywhere. The sail is the one that gives direction to where we are going. So you don't want not to have a sail. So you achieve more in your lifetime when you have goals, progressively. You incrementally are saying we achieve 10% of our last year. This year we want to be at 15%. So you are aiming even in your own personal achievements, what would it be? Maybe you started off, you've done your first degree after you left high school, and then many years you've gone to work and say, I want to achieve more out of life. I want to be ahead of the pack. And then you come and say, what would help me? Maybe let me go back and do my master's or do a professional course. You're always aiming high. That's the thing. In all performance of your life. So whatever the organization does, because organization is a live instrument, because people work there and they do the work that is expected to be done. So the same goals we want to achieve for an organization is the same thing that you would want for yourself. Increase the motivation to achieve most of your life. Increase your pride and self-satisfaction, your ego. You feel good when you achieve, and you want people to be able to support others. When people ask you, how did you achieve this? This is what I did. These were some of the challenges. This is how I got there, and I'm very happy about it. Improve self-confidence, help to eliminate the attitude that holds you back and cause unhappiness. Not sounding like, this is what I really want to achieve. When I'll pause here and say, when you look at this, are you on an upward trajectory? Are you feeling that over time your self-confidence has improved? Do you feel a sense of pride and self-satisfaction in the goals that you have set in the past, and looking back at the ability to have been able to achieve them, whatever? And then also, when you think about it as an individual, have you called yourself to a meeting this year so that it helps to eliminate any attitudes that hold you back or cause you any unhappiness? I hear people saying in the beginning of the year, I don't want negative attitude around me. I don't want negative energy. I just want to be, I love people, the way we talk, and we want to really be better human beings, I think. And there's a lot of information out there about goal setting, importance, what we feel about that. So the importance, one of the things is that it helps us clarify and to be able to move forward and to set higher goals for us to be able to achieve more. Any question? Importance. Do organizations set unrealistic goals for their employees? Do you feel that sometimes the goals are unrealistic, unachievable? Anyone? Thank you, Winnie. Yeah, broader perspective. Yeah, anyone? Goal setting, especially at the beginning of the year, do we feel that sometimes the goals are too high, are too steep for us to achieve? Anyone?
Hello.
Hi, Patricia.
This is Patricia.
Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
I think the importance of goal setting is in an organization or for personal purposes is to get that clarity of, like you said, what you need to achieve. And then for organizations, you're able to plan better so that you can execute and maximize the time that is available. When it comes to goal setting, there is no goal that is cast on stone. Things can be moved around if the goal, as you set it, as time goes on and you find that it is not attainable, you could have a dialogue and find what are the causes of the unattainability of the goal, or what are the challenges you are going through as an individual, and look at, is this goal still attainable? Is it still realistic and valuable, or can it be altered? So the importance of just having a dialogue, even if you set goals within the organization, to see how, as you progress, the challenges that you're going through, how can they be addressed, rather than just sitting there and feeling that this is not attainable and nothing cannot be done. So the importance of having that clarity of what is expected of you, you knowing how you will need to execute, and if there is any challenge on the way, then just being open to any discussion. Thank you,
Patricia, for putting it so well. Opening it up for discussion and making sure that the resources are available for people to be able to achieve these goals. But unfortunately, one of the things, and I would like you to put it in your people's agenda this year as well, whether you're managing people, whether you are the head of the section, whether you're the owner of the company, whether you're the head, the CEO of the company, is that we need to be able to have that dialogue with people. First and foremost is that because it is such a traditional way, okay, fine, let's set goals, put them down, because it's a must for us to have those goals. Put them down. And sometimes you don't even have those discussions. The feedback mechanism is not there. You just see an email coming, these are your goals for this year. And the supervisor has not called you and said, these are the things that I think we should focus on this year as you as an individual. Are you happy with them? Do you think you'll be able to achieve them? We are going to provide you the resources. And if anything changes, we are going to have a dialogue and we can shift around. So that lacks, or even if it is done in such a way that it is just to check a box. HR has it now. We are not actively looking at it. Saying goal setting is your Bible of truth at the workplace. You have three things. You have your job description, you have the strategy of the organization, you have the strategy of the department, and finally you have should actually feed into all this. And the exciting, and if we are just waiting for us to go back and say, oh, in December, HR again has asked for us to discuss and to have a dialogue, whether about the goals that we set. Whoever remembers in January, if we are not continuously having discussion every other time, where are we at? What have you been able to achieve? What is changing? What should we increase? I think we do it very because it is, someone has said we must, it's fashionable, this organization, we set goals, and at the end of the year, we have a look at. If really we are serious about goal setting and achieving objectives, in fact, sometimes I just say organizations are resilient and they are so well run, for sure. Because when you ask people, are you working towards, what's your goal? Hey, let me go back to what I remember. You remember them. Not looking into, you are not measuring them and saying, whoa, look at this, I've been able to achieve the milestones. We must celebrate the milestones. We must all the time look at them and evaluate where we are. Take stock, feedback, a monthly meeting, consistently you be the one asking for feedback, and let's evaluate where we are. So at the end of the year, we are just signing off and sending that form and saying, it was good, I'm happy with what I have done. So just to be more involved, build your self-confidence, get the feedback, see what needs to be done, ask for resources, ask for them to be changed, but not just to come and say, Allah, that is at the beginning of the year, don't even remember. And if you and your boss are in the same boat, you really are ticking a box, say, Catherine, Patricia, come here. Si tumefanya HR. The stakes should be high. Stakes should be high, and we must be able to have those conversations as we go. Even then, start every quarter or half year, but don't wait until the end of the year. And let them be very purposeful. From where do we derive the goals from? That is also something that people and line managers actually struggle with a lot. Where are we going to derive these sales, especially services? These goals, over and over again, what do we do? There are goals to be achieved in an organization. It's not just the salespeople. Even when you work for the government, there are goals to be achieved. There are result areas which are performance contracting, which I know had a whole hue and cry when they were told they would now be performance contracting. There was a bit of resistance. Some people were happy. Some parastatals, which were very progressive, they came and ran with it, and you can see that they are doing well. But the ones who were resistant in doing them, you can see that they produce for the citizens, services we acceptable, and they are always being bashed and stuff like that. So goal setting continues to be an important aspect in organizations if we want our performance to be there. It's part of performance management. Okay, great. So any question, any feedback? Goal setting, both for your own individual, always connect. Okay. So what are some of the things, the perils that we will face if we do not set any goals? What's going to happen if we don't set any goals? If we don't set any goals, what happens? If we don't set any goals, let's say, for example, you're doing your CHR and you need to finish it by what? That's a goal that you have set. If you don't study and you think that you will just walk into the exam room and pass, what happens?
If you don't set goals, then nothing gets done, or you might do what was not intended. And therefore, at the end of the day, it doesn't contribute to the organization's strategy, or you yourself you've just been hitting around the bush, but not really having a focused goal to attain. So you might end up doing many things and not accomplishing them, all because you do not have a specific goal.
Yeah. Thank you, Patricia. And also, you might not allocate resources correctly. There will just be lack and mismatch of resource allocation. And resource allocation is not just about money, it's about time, it's about the people who will setting their goals. You're not reaching out to ask for that help, and you're not building yourself as an individual, a disservice also to the organization. So we need to just to be more attuned and articulate things a bit more around the area of goal setting, even as an individual. If you plan to, a very, 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 very profound statement. If you don't plan, you plan to fail. You'll not be able to achieve what is expected. A goal is a desired result. A goal is a desired result a person or envisions, plans, and commits to achieve. It is a desired end point in some sort of assumed development. Goals are what motivates us to push ourselves to grow and to move on in life. I want to achieve this goal. And let's not be, you're running your own race. If you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, whoever the Joneses are for you, are, as we call it, you're not in tune with your own goals and your own aspirations. That is unhealthy competition. Even at the workplace when we start making bad cultures in organizations where we are competitive, competitiveness does not contribute to the goals of the organization and do not contribute to your own personal goals. We see that a lot. And why do we see that? Unhealthy competition, which we think, oh, people are very competitive in this organization. But it's actually unhealthy competition and not goals. Why do we have that in organizations? Anyone? Unhealthy competitions, which create a toxic culture if left unmanned. Not discussed, anyone? Why do we have unhealthy competition in our workplace? Cosmas. I'm just reading the names that I see. Faith, Kilonzo, Oliva, Patricia, any thoughts around that? Rose, any thoughts around? Salima, any thoughts around that? Betty, Roslyn, Maggie, Wanja, Winnie. Unhealthy competitions.
We do have unhealthy competitions, in my opinion, when we have poor management. So there's no direction. People just, and those managers who also come and use divide and rule, it causes unhealthy competition amongst employees.
Very true. Yeah. Unhealthy competition where management really are not giving the right direction to employees, are not sending the right they are not modeling the correct example that actually talks to our vision, mission, and values. I think that that's very true. We stop, everybody now start thinking what's happening here, and people do what they should do to align themselves either to the camp for them to survive, and also managers who really perfected the art of divide and rule. Oh, those managers are something else. Divide really creates a bad culture in organizations. So we should try as much as possible to make sure that we are having the discussions. We are calling out bad behavior when people are dropping balls, and even these managers who are there, we should talk to them and say, this is what's happening to your people. This is how they feel. And have you noted that this is how you are leading your people? And these are the outcomes. So we need to have those kind of discussions so that we create better environments. Leave alone the bonus. The bonus is, if it's correctly rewarded, it's very, very, very different, guys, because it is based on what you've been able to achieve. There's no way I can give you a bonus knowing very well that you have not been able to achieve. It would be very unfortunate and very unfair. If goals have been set, they've been correctly evaluated, there's feedback mechanism, we are talking about performance management, and everything is up to what it should be, we should not have any problems about we should not have any problems with goal setting. So the problem is that many people, and there are some dangers in living this way, as companies and as individuals. We can become very passive, that's it. It is important to do any real evaluation, like what we have said. We can fall into the trap of doing something just for the sake of doing it the traditional way. This year, let's do things differently. And it is different. It is difficult to state where we are doing it and why we are not. HR said we do it. Even can you imagine the managers come and say, after all, it's HR who says that we should. We lose motivation because we are not challenged. And Rose, that's where you say, yes, people become demotivated because there is no, my motivation is not, I've come in very motivated, but the environment does not motivate me because they are not looking into me as an individual, of my expertise, what I'm able to bring. They just want to feed off me instead of me also feeding off them. It becomes easy to settle for a maintenance mode instead of a development mode. It is not easy to plan. The emphasis become upon activity rather than an output. And this is where most of us sometimes get stuck in when we are not really performance management in an organization, because it's tick the box, we've done it. After all, what's the next big activity? So there's liturgy, there is the lack of proper use and allocation of resources, expertise, people leave, and you just have a mediocre workforce, be people who are highly effective. When you think about highly effective organizations, big or small, would you want to work for them? Yes, you would want to work for them. What drives them? A lot of hard work. And some people say, hey, you'll be expected to work very hard, even if they work very well. But there's a lot of job satisfaction. We need to be able to give that job satisfaction so that people become more effective. And they're high drivers. They're companies which really drive you. Like Amazon is not for the faint-hearted. A good company to work for, but efficiency, you can't hide behind your inefficiencies. It's high productivity, always looking into the big thing because they want to be leaders. So people, I keep saying, where you want to work, please check whether your personality and what you stand for, your culture, your beliefs, is a company that you would like to work for. And you can't call them slave drivers because they ask for 8 of your work. When you get to work, it's work. When you're off work, you're off work. But when you're there, hey, you even 1 minute, then that's not the right place for you. Don't go and antagonize others when they already want to work. That's their culture. And they're not saying that we are bad. We're just saying that expect people to be productive and to do real good work for us to be where we are. And of course, those companies were not built in a day. It took a lot of hard work to be where they are. We go on to say that this is a good thing by Benjamin. The tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goals to reach. This year, let's pause there and say, what goals have you put for yourself this year? I'm not saying if you want to share, yes, well and good, but have you put any goals and have you written even those resolutions now with the discussion that we had earlier? Are you able now to turn those resolutions into real goals and put them down and say, by a certain period of time, I want to have been able to read them? Are you able to do that? Okay, great. Any question? Any question? Any input? Welcome input from you. So types of goals. What kind are there types of goals? We all know there are short-term goals, there are medium-term goals, and there are long-term goals. Okay. So what goals? Do most organizations have what types of goals? Is it short-term goals, medium-term goals, or long-term goals as going concerns? Organization have what kind of goals when you look at the timeline, or your organization, or you as an individual? Or is it a combination of all of them, or your industry, the industry that you work on? Is it short-term goals, long-term goals, medium-term goals? Anyone? Can see examples there for short-term goals. Day-to-day, what we do on day-to-day, very short-term. This week, this is what we want to accomplish. This month, this is what we want to accomplish. And we'll come to the table and be able to discuss that. And the is to influence the issues that are at hand. We run the business. It's the everyday things, short-term goals. of what we are in a business. You know, it's for us to be able to search how many orders have we received, so that we're able to prepare production targets to be able to meet, you know, everyday things that we do, and they become second nature to them. We can do them with our eyes closed. We know this is the process of how it happens, but we also have to have some plan, and those plans can be historical. This we know that in January, our orders are at the peak. Example, you know, like let's say we run a school distribution uniform shop, for example. We know that in January, we are at the peak of our business, where children are going to new classes, or parents have to buy a new uniform or something like that. So, you know, historically, because of also how our customers and how the industry and also how the country is governed, you'll be able to know which are the of your business. You know, in December, we know there'll be a lot of events, there'll be a lot of gatherings, and you know, that is the time maybe in food production and party event organizers, that's their peak. So there'll always be peaks in every industry, and some will, because of the nature of their job, they are consistent. A consistent business will be like business, you know, like a hospital. You know that there'll always be people to be sick, but it's almost consistent. So they know that whatever, but of course they can also they can see data and say, when do people come to hospital? When are the times that, when our peaks and stuff like that. So it's important for you to understand which your industry, when are the peaks, when are the lows, your historical data, analyze it for you to be able to also measure your short-term goals and plan around them. So your everyday, whatever, deliverables and what you are expected to achieve in the business. What about medium-term goals? That is where majority of us as individuals and businesses actually put a lot of emphasis and importance. Medium, we always say that they should be things around between, sorry, I went back. Medium-term goals between 2 years. We are saying in 2 years, I want to have been able to achieve this. By looking at medium-term goals, we are released from the urgent day-to-day stuff and we can begin to plan without having to worry about short-term issues. We've already addressed that. We already know how to plan around them, and they have become part of our second nature. So medium-term goals are a stepping stone to the longer stuff that we want to go into our strategic thinking. So we have a window of opportunity to see at ourselves very critically. Who are we? How do we do things? Who are our competitors? What do we want to achieve in another 2 years to steady and to make sure that we are sustainable for the longest time possible? So medium-term goals, you know, what is it? People say in 2 years that medium-term goals, we need to have achieved that. And sometimes the medium-term goals really come a lot from having done our strategic plan, looking at it and evaluating from time to time before it is evaluated and whatever. When we look at the strategy, it's normally maybe 5 years most of the time. If we do a 10-year strategy, it's too long and people get jittery about it. You know, 5 years is a good time for us to be able to achieve whatever we want to achieve. And then our real long-term goals. If I start this company, and if I was to give it to someone else to start running it, I know that 100 years it will still be there. We know companies which have celebrated 100 years and they have become better. They have achieved greater milestones, you know, incrementally. Long-term goals, the sustainability. We are looking at what's going to happen, and we are looking into thinking about the future, very futuristic, and saying, how is it going to look? Can you imagine when we think we have seen it all? Whoever thought technology would drive us into this kind of this kind of spaces that we are in right now. Technology, when we thought about technology 5 years ago, what technology could do and what technology can do now, the thing is that we must be able to be very present and be able to move very quickly, to be extremely agile. That's the word I was looking for. Agile and flexible for us to be able not to be overtaken, for our business to continue thriving. There are many businesses which have died because they did not embrace technology and what their customers wanted. You know, Kodak is no longer there. They thought, well, the film, go, whatever. Nowadays, everybody has a smartphone, shared at a split of a second and stuff like that. So, you know, many companies which did not, their products went out of fashion because preferences and customers' needs. So how do we hedge ourselves into the future? We are not saying we are magicians, but it almost makes us think about how can we look into the future? The only way for us to look into the future as individuals and as businesses is to continuously innovate our products to meet the current customer needs and what the customers have said that they want. Go out there, business development, look at competition, where the market is going, what kind of products are being brought into the market, and keeping up with that. Otherwise, we fizzle out, we die, we close the doors, and nobody ever thought we would ever be there. So that's whatever. So long-term goals, we need to have a future where we are going and how long the journey is ahead of us, and how do you want to see yourself in another 10 years, 20 years? Whether you'll be retiring, how do you want your retirement to be, and stuff like that. I think it's very important for us not to forget that long-term goals are really the ones sustain us, and we are able to look back and say, we are a going concern. If I was to sell this company in another 10 years, it would be very, very, still very profitable and very attractive. Who went to a local university? Yeah, some of us. So there's been a lot of mismanagement in the public universities. At least that's what we read in the newspaper, and that is what is reported. And of course, we can also see the internal wrangles in the management and public universities. So the other day I was just thinking, these universities, if they were to be closed, let's say there was one that was a lot, anybody who went to Moi, my brother went to Moi, and I was telling him, so if this university of yours was to be closed, you will say you went to which university? Where is the reference? Where is the reference that this college was closed? You know, I'm sure maybe as HR, and maybe I said I've been in HR for many years, someone says, I went to this college, but it was closed. Then you look and say, was there a letter that when the college was being closed, you went and said, give me a letter saying that I was in this college this end, but unfortunately, the college is closing. So what happens to your degree? What happens? What are you guys going to do as HR people? Me, I'll have retired by then. Nobody will ask me for my degrees. I'll not be recruiting people. A big university like Moi closes doors. You just had one day, there was a university called Moi University. Is there a need for worry, or it's just what it is? Any need for worry? Rose, Patricia, I go reading. Salima Powell, Betty Wanja, the Ritual Cosmos, anyone, Maggie? Long-term goals, your college closes, someone has come and said, well, I was in this university because of mismanagement. What happens? I used to work for this company and it closed.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, there's need to worry because, someone will, not be comfortable with your certificate. Yeah.
Not be comfortable with your certificate because they do not They don't know it. They think, well, wow, why did it close? Okay, fine. Someone else? What are we going to do? Because of lack of good goal setting and looking at those goals, companies, institutions close, which really can impact someone's career. What can we do as HRs? We have a big stake to play there. Or we will just let it go. Anyone?
This is Rose.
Yeah.
In regard to HR, that could affect especially staff. If maybe somebody was working in a certain organization and they have perhaps got a job elsewhere and they need a confirmation about perhaps their employment history, and that organization is either closed or maybe has changed. But when it comes to especially perhaps student records, okay, I'm speaking from where I work. I work in a training institution.
Oh, good.
So there are two arms of record keeping. There's one office of like one registrar who is in charge of student records. And who is the custodian of all certificates and all that. And then there's another registrar, HR now, who is in charge of staff records. Allow me speak from experience from where I sit in regard to staff records and all that. This I work in has evolved. It started as a teacher training institution way back in the 60s. And then it has, transitioned to a college, and then later to a constituent college, and then to a university. Wow. So sometimes from where I'm seated, for instance, I have a case at hand where a staff who worked in the 80s forgot to go process their NSSF benefits. It is now they are remembering that, oh, I retired or I stopped working in this organization, but hey, I remember I used to be deducted NSSF. I should go to NSSF to up my benefits.
Yeah.
So if records were not properly kept, especially digitalization of records, perhaps if the payroll was not digitalized, or maybe if this particular college had another mother college, and the records were in another institution. Now it is a completely different independent institution. So perhaps what I could recommend, it becomes a challenge, especially retrieving those records, the deductions. If the deductions were done and filed in a file, and it's been more than, let's say, 30 or 40 years. Obviously, even from the National Archives policy, if they were hard copies, they could have perhaps been destroyed. So, but perhaps for moving to the future, it's important that we try and digitalize HR processes as much as possible, so that in case of any eventuality, at least such people, either staff or students, they can be able to be assisted. For instance, for students, I know there are records archived, especially for transcripts and all that. They are kept for like double the period of training. If it's undergraduate, the records are kept for like 8 years before they are archived. So, but if they are digitalized, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Or which direction the institution takes. If there's a merger, for instance, those records can be easily traced if they are digitalized. Yeah, but it's a challenge if records are not well done or well kept.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we've seen the need for digitalizing and cloud computing. If we can afford, and people say, well, there's a time, we can't just hide, there's a time for records to be kept. I mean, people need for one reason or the other. I totally agree with Rose, is that I used to work in an institution where people would come and say, hey, I used to work here 30 years ago. I have gone to NSSF and they have found gaps in my contribution. I want HR to be able to fill them, and you're thinking, years ago I was not born, but I need to do it because they were employees here. You have the duty of care, able to do a good job when you are there. If when you are not there, someone is able to seamlessly do the work. When we think about that, and the records keeping department is one of the critical departments in an organization, that you're able to retrieve with ease, you're able to do that. And you can't ask that old employee, I'm saying old in terms of age, don't you have your pay slips? My gosh, they're there to ask for help and able to welcome your old employees who are the age of your parents or grandparents and help them with what they want. So again, are you able to digitalize? I mean, put it in cloud computing for you to be able to retrieve that information. It calls for money, calls for budget. Again, I keep saying HR, you have a perfect opportunity to leave a strong legacy in the organizations you work in because of the processes that you improve when you are there. You see a need, people are coming, go back to the archives and say, let's cloud compute these documents because people are coming and it is easier for people to compute even if I'm not there. So things like that. It's again talking to trusting people. I used to work here, that company was closed, I got a letter, you can reference with other colleagues or something like that. And even you can do homework. I don't think even closes, that when you go to the internet, there'll always be something, there'll always be someone. We cannot say that we are not fully not going to trust people. If a college, we have seen that there's the registrar, there's the commission of what do you call it, chair, the one that certifies certificates. So there are many ways to be able to look it, but sometimes we need to look at the expertise that someone is bringing on board. Yeah. So your long-term goals, your medium-term goals, your short-term goals, are you as an individual? Do you understand the day-to-day functions of your department, of your position? Do you have medium-term goals for your organization, for your department, for you as an individual? And your long-term goals are going to give you a lot of clarity as to where I want to go. And if I am going to do that, I am going to achieve that, how am I going to get there? Who is going to help me? What resources do I need? How am I going to evaluate to know that I'm successful in achieving my long-term goals? Okay, great. So let's look at areas. I know we can take a 5-minute break after I just go through personal areas of goals to look at. And we all know this. There's no, I mean, we know, and there could be many other goals, but these are the big ticket items that so looking at and always appreciating and then breaking them down into smaller goals. So their career goals, their family goals, their health goals, their educational goals, their social and their financial goals that we really want to look into and be able to go into that. So why are they important for us? That would be my question. Why are they important for us, big ticket items? Before we go into each one of them, can take a 5-minute break and then we come back. Quickly go through. Were they important? When you look at these very big pillars of goal setting. And I'm sure every one of us has a goal around this, the 6 goals that we always look into. Yes, Patricia? Yes. Mute. Okay, so career goals, we want to achieve a certain level of professionalism. We want to be called upon. There are some people who will always be lack jobs and they are well sought after, because they have worked on their career goals and they know what they want to achieve. We look at it in details. Career goals, we would be learning a new job skill, complete our project and stuff like that. So we want to make sure if you are doing CHRP, you want to be known as a CHRP finalist, not just to be able to comply with the act of being HR, but you also want your own achievement. If you're going to look for a new job and people being asked, I use a CHRP finalist and stuff like that. Family goals, you could say, I want to become a better, a more present family member. Health goals, you want to make sure that you are having a healthy lifestyle, and there are some things that you might want to cut off or maybe reduce. Educational goals, you make sure that you're updating your skills, you are out there doing what needs to be done, you are looking for accreditation. In terms of financial goals, you're setting up your investments, you're paying off your debts, you want to have a certain level of savings by a certain period of time for you to be able to do some of these things like go back to school, maybe support your healthy lifestyle and stuff like that. Social goals, develop something. And what does the society know you for? What does your inner circle know you for? We are not saying that you become the necessarily, not all of us can become the Martin Luther Kings, Mother Teresa, Michael Jackson. You might not treat that there, but in your own sphere of influence, what are you known for? Where you influence and people know you. What can we say about you? And people say, if you want that, go to so and so. If you want to do that, go to able to. Are you known for that? So that is something that whatever the social goals can be, a lot of around your spiritual life, the environment, the charity causes that you ascribe to and that are dear to your heart, and to develop something significant within your circle of influence. Let's always be able to do that because we are social human beings and we need people and people need able to bring our expertise, our passion to whatever we do. So when we start being more available to people, then all these other goals, I can tell you, tend to fall into place because then you're able to see, there's need and people, whatever, respect and I'm called upon. Then these other ones, you become a more grounded human being and you're able to reference that and become better in all these pillars of goal setting. So if it's okay, I'm happy to continue unless 5 minutes break or 3 minutes break just to grab your cup of tea, water, stretch. Is that okay? Hands up for anyone who is okay with that. Or unmute and say okay. So it's 10:22. We come at 10:25. Okay. So it's 10:22. I'll start back at 10:25. Is that okay? So 3 minutes break for us to catch up with the time. We don't want to be too big. We are making good strides. Okay. Your minute starts now. See you shortly. In 2 minutes. Thanks. Welcome back, guys. I hope you had a good break, able to stretch. Areas of goal to look at are personal setting goals, even at an organizational level, for you to be able to become a better employee. Welcome back. I hope you're all back. So career goals, we've talked about, just highlight in the last slide what would be. And career will keep being year after year. There's no way you will come and say now, I don't need to look into, if you are a career person, you need to keep up with what's happening out there and what's happening internally for you to continue being a valuable team member. So goal setting for your career is very important. To plan your career, you need to think about the number of issues, then put your plan in place. Not even employer, first and foremost, is able to bring to help you with, but you as an individual articulating what you would want to see happening in your career. So if you take a career as a doctor, as a HR practitioner, as a finance person, as an astronomist, or whatever it is, whatever career you choose, you must enjoy it. So that's the thing. You can say, what are my career goals? They must first and foremost be around your personal passion. Things that you do with ease, things that energize you, things that you enjoy doing, things that are seemingly effortless for you. That's when you really increase your motivation. Even people at work can recognize that, hey, they are really out their career. And the thing is that you also are able to make a living out of your career. You're able to make a living out of your passion. I know many people, and we know that for a fact that many people have started off very successful businesses because of their passion, which turns out to be they form very successful businesses which employ people, and they just keep growing and growing and growing. So what have you planned for your career this year? What are you planning to do? How are you selling your expertise that you have, your skills, building your brand around your career? And if that's someone that they can be called upon, and I wish we can be able to them. And as HR, I know at one point in your life you have been able to think about hiring for this position. You say, hey, that person is well respected in our industry, but unfortunately won't be able to afford them because they have built a personal brand. They've worked hard, and they command, they are expert in that area. And if we can't afford them, what can we do to build the same kind of expertise in ourselves? So always aspire to be a known brand and be able to bring in the expertise that is required. And also, when you become very successful, also be humble. I think that don't forget that it's important for us to be known that we can be called upon. Even when you call them and maybe you don't know them, they can still be able to say, yes, I'm able to help. That's the thing within your networks. Oh, so-and-so, I would really like to, because I want to hear how they did it and stuff like that. Time might not be available because many people are asking for your help in stuff like that. But when you get an opportunity, always be out there. People will always remember how you made them feel, not what you gave them and stuff like that. It becomes whatever. Increase your level of motivation, your tolerance level. You're able to compromise things, as you build your career, for you to be known that you are an expert, And the thing is, for you to be able to do that, is that we need to take stock of career goals, because that is where it really starts from. If you're able and make it strong and anchor it, then everything else falls into place. You're able to plan without having to feel the pressure. And you don't have to, your employer doesn't have to plan for you all the self-sufficient. You're someone who's able to do what is expected. The thing is that when you want to do your career goals, do a SWOT analysis. Call yourself. There are many tools off the internet for free for you to see where you ask for that feedback from your friends and from your relatives, from your supervisor, from your juniors. Don't be too afraid to get feedback. And sometimes that feedback is something that you didn't or might not make you happy. That's the truth of the matter. That is how people see you. And they will be able to give you with good examples and say, Apa, you don't do well. Here you really excel, and you say, I didn't even think about it. And you say, that is what we are saying about and seamless in terms of growing your career and you as an individual. So those two go together, your personality, your character, everything that forms you. Who is Catherine? If you ask, I always ask people in my first class, in my coaching class, who are you? Tell us of who you are. Who you are is not what you've been. Who really are you? Have you been able to describe yourself in a way that you know, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses? And who you are, of course, we are not saying that, when people introduce themselves, they normally say, my name is Catherine Wamwangi, I'm a HR practitioner, I'm a coach, I have this level of education, I'm working towards this, I work in this industry or in this company, I have children, I'm married. So that is what they say. Compared to who is really you. Those are things that we see on the surface, but the tip of the iceberg down is what we really want to know you for, so that we're able to support you and be able to tap into your expertise. So you need to look into these 4 quadrants of the SWOT analysis. If you don't have it, put it back out there. Start filling it in, write your name there, write your career, what you enjoy doing. And then the strengths, look at some of the things. What are you good at? And what do you enjoy? And what is easy for you? Ask someone to give you your weaknesses. What are you not good at? What are some of the things? What are the allowable weaknesses? Because in HR, we say, when we do the personalities for new employees to come up, what are the allowable weaknesses that we can accommodate of this person so that they do not come and change the culture and diversity in our organization? We must all understand our allowable weaknesses and those that we already know and we are working towards. But if we have not accepted them, then it becomes a bit of a problem. What are some of the opportunities? What propels me to be ahead of my competition? What am I known for? And threats. What's stopping you from achieving your goal? People will say, I don't have money to go back to school. It's true. What can you do to sacrifice to get the money? Is the industry, what's the industry? What does the industry look like in the future? Do you think that HRs will have jobs in the future? Will HR still be a profession and a career that is well? Will we still have HR professionals 20 years from now? Or it's a career that will have fizzled out? Cosmas? What do you think about HR and the future? We'll still make a career out of HR. Guys, please speak to me just a little. Anyone? In future, Maggie, Winnie, Derito, Roslyn, will still Powell, Olivia, will still HR be here in the future? Will it still be a career that will see the light of day? Anyone? Rose? Will we be able to see the light of day in HR? I think, in my opinion, I think we'll still have a lot of influence because we'll still be dealing with people, even if there's a lot of automation, machine learning. It is now being automated, the chat boxes and everything that we are using, but people interaction. That's why we've requested people who've been working for, even if your business can still work from home, that the hybrid model and people interacting gives us better results. As I think HR will still be there, of course, with automation, but that face-to-face interaction in terms of the trust will still be needed. Communication, real-time communication will still be required, and people want to see face-to-face. So I think it will still stand the test of time, in my opinion. Okay, so let's move on. So career goals are the important things from yourself. Education and training. How do you promote yourself? How is your CV? Do you have a website? Do you have a blog? What are you tweeting on your forms? What are you putting up? Are you adding to the body of knowledge? You need to act in your field. You need to network. Your network is your net worth, and that's very true. I've seen that working for many people, that you really forge which are very, very strong, and they're able to come through for you in the things that you're looking on to develop within your plans. So family goals, very quickly, and we say the 6 pillars, which are very high: career, family, social, financial, things that really you can make very good goals out of it. And what I would encourage is that to look at those 6 pillars and say, pick one goal that you really want to achieve this year. Don't worry about having too many goals. Even at the workplace, you can't have more than 5 goals. If I want you to have more than 5 goals, they stop becoming goals. They start now becoming a new job description. Have very clear goals which are challenging, which excite you, which support the business, and which support you as an individual. If there are too many, we don't know. We become confused around them. They're not there. The time for really looking at them critically and being able to articulate is not there. So even as a business, we need to make sure that the goals that we set for our employees are realistic. So family goal are you going to set this year? They could be many, and it could be long term, again, short term, medium term, your family goals. I'll not read all of them. Health goals, what are your? This is always something, the resolution that we make, all of us to the gym, then after 12, okay, I'm a member, I'll be coming as when it's required, is the key, realistic goals and around your health, and one of the things is that we pray that we get long life with good health. That's what we pray for, but we also must make sure that we are working towards our health goals. We need to exercise more. We need to have balanced teams. What have you done for your business? What has management done for you guys to reflect a good work-life balance? That is important. And I saw this bill that was being debated, and that they want employers not to call employees hours of work. I know in France in France and Germany, I think they've actually they're very strict on that you cannot just call people after working hours. You need to have balance, because it was almost turning out to be almost. But in Kenya, FKE has come and said that might not work, because sometimes the gadget we give you is company enabled, the airtime, the internet. We also, some businesses, you are required to be available 24/7, 365. So there's a big debate around there. even if you're going to be calling people after hours, what have we put in place to make sure that we are supporting them to have a good work-life balance? Employee wellness programs, do we have them place of work? Because there's a lot of mental fatigue right now, and we should be able to look out for such kind of stuff. I don't know what your contribution is. That should I call you? Should your supervisor call you after working hours? It depends again with the kind of environment, the kind of culture that you have in your organization. Rose?
Like you said earlier, it all depends. For instance, if from where I sit, I do commitment letters to hospitals to enable staff get treatment and all that. So if a staff expect to call me anytime, either weekend or whatever, to do a commitment letter to enable them or their dependent to be discharged, why would they not expect the same from the supervisor, for instance? We said again, there are staff who are on call, for instance, the doctors, and we pay the allowance. So should we not call them when a staff has fallen sick or they're dependent? So it is a whole debate all around. And let's say, for instance, we have a disaster at the institution. Let's say maybe one building has gone on fire. Does it mean we don't call people? So it is a whole lot of discussion, and perhaps a clear policy needs to be developed all around it to address such questions that may arise.
Yeah, very true. It all calls for the kind of culture that you have in your organization, caring you are, your duty of care, and don't misuse that opportunity. You can't call, it would be extremely unfair if a supervisor just wants to call just to emphasize that I'm the supervisor, and you call and you say, I told you to bring that report by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and you know very well that I asked for an emergency leave to take my child to hospital. And even if there was a deadline, I knew that there was a deadline, but an emergency came in. How about calling me later in the evening, or even before you call, you send me a text message and say, I hope you've been able to deal with the emergency and your daughter is feeling well. That sends a very different community compared to you calling me and telling me I expected the report and not having empathy around what during the day. You get what I mean? Those are two different whatever. If I'm a supervisor who checks on me, either calling me and say, I'm not calling about work. I'm calling to find out how your day went and whether your child is feeling better. The next time they call me, if they want my help, I have a report that I need to produce to the board by 10 o'clock. The chair has actually called. Would you mind coming in 1 hour early? We prepare the report. Wouldn't you be happy to go and say, yes, I'll be there, don't worry. We'll work together. I'm more than happy to help. They've created an enabling environment to be able to feel that you are valued and you are going to do more. That's the kind of environments that we want to create. And that is created by me and you, but we know that some people are difficult people. What are we doing to transform them to see the kind of culture that we want to make in this organization? So it's important for us to wellness programs, work-life balance, integration at the workplace will continue to be extremely important so that people can be able to achieve the goals that they have been set for them by the organization and also achieve their own personal goals. Okay. What are some of your learning goals this year? What are you going to learn? Things which are different. Don't get too trapped in what you know. Continuously learning. And I'm not saying we seem to learn new things every day or just being reminded. In fact, this It's things that you know. There is nothing that is new under the sun. I'm sure it's things that we are discussing and maybe reminding ourselves so that we go out energized and encourage that to do more. We need to be more purposeful. If anything, out of this webinar today, let us go out and more deliberate in checking our personal goals that converge with the organizational goals. That's what we want. So learning takes place every day. You learn new things, you're reminded about old things, you're reminded about current things, but we need to be attuned. If you ask, what's fresh in HR? What's new? What's the buzzword? What are we talking about? Practitioners, as finance experts, what are we talking about? As coaches, where do we see ourselves thriving, and how are we able to help people? We should be able to, or in our industry, what is new? What are we competing against? You are keeping abreast in what's happening, and we can't also be not alive to the environment that we live in. This is an election year. What are you going to do for your employees? What plans have you come August, and what are you going to do during that heavy month of elections and stuff like that? Have you started putting plans in place? I have already started putting plans in place, and plans are not new. It's picking from all the other from what we have done in the past and saying, have things changed? Is there anything that we need to tweak to make sure we have a hybrid way of working? So during that time, who's doing this, who's doing that? If those plans you have not started making them, it is time. I keep on saying HR people have an opportunity to shine wherever they are for you to be able to do that. I'm saying maybe that, and maybe majority of us are not HR people. So learning every day and making plans. Financial goals. What does money talk about? The love of money is the root of all evil, but it's good. It makes the world go round. Cash is king. Cash is king in our life. Cash is king for the business. Do you have money that if you were to lose your job or your business, that you would be able to maintain the same lifestyle for 1 year before you get something to do? If your expenses are, your budget is maybe 20,000 in a month, do you have enough money in the bank, cash, looking at you in your bank account that will take you for 1 year? Unfortunately, it has moved from 6 months to 1 year now. Long time ago, it used to be you need cash for 6 months before you get your footing, either to get into a new job or to get into your footing into something that you desire, want to go back into employment. Now it's 1 year. So if your expenses, in given everything that you need to do is 1 year, you need to take into account that you need 1.2 million seated in. I don't have it. Should I work towards it? We don't know what happens. COVID came just the other day, and we were all looking and saying, oh my gosh, how do we like that? It's good practice to make sure that your financial goals are, first and foremost, you have financial security, and then work towards all those other goals that you really want to achieve, whether it's buying a new home, whether it's buying land. We love to buy land in Kenya, don't we? Whether it's money for emergency situations, whether you're looking for your loved ones, stuff like that. We need to make sure that we accumulate money to be able to achieve our financial goals. What's your financial goal for this year? Any question? Any question? Are you helping your employees achieve financial goals? Do you to time also give them these extra trainings around financial planning? Have you ever employed someone who was coming from maybe a salary of, let's say, they used to earn 50,000, and all of a sudden they find themselves earning 300,000? What do you do about that? Are you the HR who comes and says, no, that's too much money? And the entry for this position, and they're the best candidate, and maybe they just had not had this opportunity. What are we doing to say, well, this is a big leap for you, a big jump. We are very happy. How is your financial planning? Can we take you for a short course to be able to make sure that you adjust to your new financial backing and setting right now. So I think we owe people the opportunity to make sure that all those financial goals, personal goals are being whatever. So make trainings that also give back to the people in the organization, not just about technical trainings. You know, you have to go for training, you have to do this, you know, some of those things that really in achieving their life goals are very important. Or even programs within your benefit structure and asking your benefits people to talk about some of these things that we are talking about. Really, people become energy. This is an organization that cares about its employees. They are not just giving me organizational goals or company goals, but they're also thinking about me, because if you're a holistic, if you're a whole human being, and a whole human being talks about all those goals that we have talked about, you're a better employee. Okay. Any questions? Any questions about goal setting, some of the big goal setting items that we need to, whatever? Who would want to talk about how they have is in goal setting? What have you done differently? Let's share. Let's share what you have done differently at your place of work to help employees own personal goals so that they become motivated, energized, they become more effective in the goals that they have been set in the organization now. Thank you, Winnie. A good environment is everything. A bad culture makes everything important. Everything rises and falls on culture. You can say that again. Anyone who has done things differently, maybe you can share with us at your place of work to make to help employees with their goals, to assist them so that they become better employees, that they become more committed. Anything that we have done? Anyone? Let's share so that people also get to implement some of those things, or people to go shining away, or to be challenged in terms of what can I do differently? That's something that I can implement, or something that I can take to the board or senior management, or even in my department. Sometimes you don't have to start big, just start in your department and people will just be like, oh, this is cool. She brought something different. Winnie, have you done anything different? Wanja, Roslyn, Maggie, Betty, anybody who has done anything different? Piece of work that has really worked and motivated people? Okay, if you do, then let us know as we go along. Last, to move on. If there's any question, feel free to whatever. So the 5D factors, just look at it. Ever thought about it like this? Ever thought about it like this? Yeah. So start with some dreams. Dreams are valid. Was it Lupita Nyong'o who when she won the Oscar, told us dreams are valid, and it became such a nice tagline for many of us. Dreams are valid, yeah. So keep dreaming, actualize the dream. That's what we said from the beginning. So think about what really fires you up. You know, what motivates you as an individual? What is it that gives you the energy and the great sense of fulfillment? What do you deeply care about? The drive. Why do I wake up every morning to go to work or to go to my business? Then the dream, you know, wanted to do, what have you always wanted to do? Where do you see yourself in 1 year's time, in 2 years' time, in 10 years' time? Remember the short-term goal, the medium-term goal, and the long-term goal. What's the, yeah, dream more dreams. Dream more dreams. The more you dream, and dreams are not dreamt when you are sleeping. Sleeping, you don't, but the drive, what drives you? Then you dream, dream and just think, sometimes you just sit down and just think, and how would it be if I dreamt, and how am I going to articulate that? If that really drives you, then you're in a right place. What natural skills and abilities or talents do you have and could be developed further? From your dream, start developing, and what natural abilities for these dreams to be able to do it. Some people are so natural at things that are well off from their career, and they're natural at it. Discuss, chat through some of the questions, answers to some of the questions with friends, with relatives, with colleagues. But what happens is that people are so fearful that if I talk about what I want to develop, what I want to start, that some go with them. Guys, there's enough for everyone in this world. Today, if you call Den of ACHRP and say, I'm a good trainer, give me a session to train, or give me an opportunity, I'm passionate, I'm sure that there's enough for everyone. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes we shy away and we say, they're going to steal my whatever. You also need, I'm not saying that you go and announce it to the whole world. You need to choose whom you're going to talk to. You're in a circle, people who will help you there and actualize, because they help you with ideas and they help you actualize your dream, to develop it. And they say, if you look at it like this, I will network you this, I will help you there, and stuff like that. So it's important for us to be honest about ourselves. It's unrealistic, it is realistic, it can be done, and they will actually encourage you to move on. So the 5 factor Ds we must have a look at here. The money, you have the resources, you have the time, the desire. What's the desire? It will help you greatly if you set positive goals, So you have the drive, the fire in you. You dream and dream. We can dream many dreams, as many dreams as you can. Help now come from implement them, put them in paper, look at the expertise that discuss those plans and those goals and those dreams, whatever it is. And that's the same for organizations. It's we think critical thinking. We think strategically for the business. Those, if you want to call them dreams, so be it. Where do I have to be? How does it look for me? And discuss, and let's chat through those brainstorming sessions and many other discussions that we have, town hall meetings, things that really bring around focus groups, many ways of discussing things that we are planning to do. And then desire. Think about what next would be in order to fulfill the goals and aims that you have set for yourself. Let money limit you. Let not time limit you. Let not lack of confidence or say that I'm not sure it's going to work. Start. You'd rather start and see how it's going to go, and you might be presently surprised on how it works for you. So what is the one thing? And sometimes it's not about, it's not necessarily about, what do you call it? About making money. It's about that desire that you have, and in the end, money tends to follow you. So I had a dream like 5 years now, and I said, I want to join credible boards. I want to join boards. I want to be in boards. I want to sit in boards. And I said, what kind of boards do I want to join? I said, I want boards that will make a significant difference with the expertise that I will be bringing on board. And I'll avail my time, and I'm ready to go. And of course, you have to understand governance. So I prepared myself, and I'm telling you this, how money follows you. tell you how money follows you. So that's, but I'm just saying that some of these things that you actualize, and why do I want to join boards? I said I want to join boards because boards make a big difference in terms of providing success to organizations, and in turn, people get a right direction to be able to do that. And if I'm able to influence that, let me be it. So you start looking at you went to school to win. That's a good place to start. Your high school there, what is it? Maybe one day you say, I want to go in and mentor, I want to take a class one day just to talk to students. Things, these things anyway, how they work and stuff like that. And then you also talk to your networks and say, I want to join a board, and they reference you and say, if you hear, and there are many adverts of boards. Let me tell you, government, you'll always see them in Tuesdays, government, if you read that, we're looking for whatever. So I actually now got to join boards which are non-profit and for profit, and it's for you now to choose this, whether you want your time to be paid or whether you want whatever. So at one point now, I can't even sit on more boards, and I am where I want 4 good, credible boards. I'm happy to sit in them, 2 non-profit, 2 for profit, and the profit ones will have a sitting allowance. It's really, you feel you are remunerated. The rest which I endure, it's value for time, for money, but they really give me a lot. So I want to say that my dream, which I crafted and said, it's not even in my line of duty, but I had a bigger picture of saying, what would I want to do? And go in there and use my coaching skills and say, how about having a breakfast session with the ESCOM or management, say, I'd like us to talk about coaching. And then after that, they say, oh, really good. And that was a good session. Are you able to do it for our middle managers? Because that is where the need is. The middle managers are the glue between the people under them and top management, and they come. So when I get that opportunity, I run with it, and that's how you continue impacting organizations and whatever. So there are many opportunities. Look at it. What's your end desire? What's your end goal? To make better professions out of people. And you need someone who wants to be coached. Either they say, well, I don't have money, or can you pay? So the business opportunities follow you when you have good intentions. So dream. Look at why you are doing it in your time, and see if money follows you, well and good. If it does, has it given me satisfaction? Yes, it has. So there is my story of my dreams, the 5 factors, and I have seen how it can actually give you a lot of satisfaction. So what fires you up? What things do you want to do differently, even at your place in society, that you can be able to see that it is going to bring value to you and you'll be satisfied in doing it. And maybe money might just follow your way. So get those opportunities and make sure that you're running to them. Anybody would like? So we also say that focus on what motivates you, the things that you would like to achieve, and what personal fulfillment means for you. Focus on what motivates you. I'd like you to take this, but you can always find it in the LMS. What motivates you? Things that you would like to achieve, and and some of the things that really fulfills you and fulfills our beings are the intangible things. Not having all these other things is important, but some of the intangible things, what me. When you see other people successful, it makes you happy. See other people thriving, it makes you happy. When you see that you have left an impact on someone, and someone calls you 5 years later and say, hey, this idea, you too, and you don't even, you just thought, well, it's part of something that comes natural to me. I was doing it. But if it's impacted someone else and they were able to make great milestones and strides in their personal and career life, then you feel happy about it. Okay? So let's move on. We don't have a lot of time, so I won't belabor. We know this has been used over and over again. Work smart, work hard, enjoy life mantra, and it's never that serious. So even when you are doing that, you know, we already know about SMART goals, personal goals, what we have said, the 6 big ticket items, the 5 Ds, and you're able to reference that in terms of really being very specific, very measurable, very achievable, very relevant, and very timed. I think the most important thing is that we are very specific in what we want to do, but we are very poor at actually measuring it because we do not put it down. And we are very shy on looking at what is achievable. So being measurable and being achievable, please make sure that you focus on that, and it will give you greater results, and it will actually now come to full circle when you look at it, at all the quadrants of the word SMART, okay? Logic and creativity. We want to look at some of the things that really, what is logic and creativity? As some scholars and experts have and we find this very interesting, have said before setting our goals, it is very essential to know more about ourselves, who we are, what kind of person we are, what kind of thinking will help us to be successful or succeed in our goals. To determine what type of thinking you use, let's look at the 5 shapes in the circle, and you will instinctively find most attractive. Just look at them. Look through them. Logic and creativity on about your thinking, how you think scientifically, yeah, who you are, how you appear in a team. The left, right, and you can do more research on this. Where do you fall? I'll give you just some time to look at it, read through it, and say who you are. An extremely creative thinker. Are you a creative thinker? Are you a logical thinker? Are you an extremely left-brainer, very logical thinker? We know people in teams, and we want to be very diversified so that we do not, diversify. We have all these people in teams. They bring different in how we run the business and how we run the organization and how people see them, so that when you know that someone is a very logical thinker, they are prepared to work alone. Why are they always working? They're very logical. They're always asking for, by paralysis or whatever we call them. Some people are just happy-go-lucky. It doesn't really matter. They bounce back very quickly. So when you these 5 shapes, where do you fall? What most attracts you? So that you also know where are your allowable weaknesses, how you work in a team, what people can accommodate, but also on the flip side, how you accommodate others. Any question? Anyone? Life is too short. Enjoy it, Winnie. I totally agree. So the square.
Excuse me, Catherine.
Yes, Patricia.
As we think about these patterns and being logic and creative, how does this fit into one's personal mission statement, even as you think about your goal setting?
Mission statement. Okay. That's a good question. One of the things that, and I don't have the perfect answer. I will open it up to plenary discussion. we need to be very self-aware of who we are, like what I said in the beginning. Do a SWOT analysis of yourself and know exactly who you are as an individual. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Am I a logical thinker? Am I a creative thinker? There are many things, and over time, you become a better person. That's what I tend. Years of wisdom as you leave me before you come and say, I'm now very settled well in my skin. These are things that I can, and this is a deal breaker for me. Even before you come to your own personal mission and make and your own brand, I think over time, the first, if you are lucky enough to have a good employer, when you left college or university, or when you came to work, your first job, and they let you do a personality test, there will be things which are very inherent, and we have seen that. And there are some things that you will develop over time as a manager. Let's say you are an extremely impatient person. And as you work with people, as you manage people, and you are receptive to feedback, and we say, hey, boss, you are really impatient. And let me give you an example on when you really displayed impatience, which did not go well with the team or me as an individual. Then you start thinking, hey, anyway, I'm impatient for no good reason. I can try and tone down my impatience. You get what I mean? Or I procrastinate and I put pressure on myself when a deadline is there. I would have done a better job, is whatever. So the thing is that you continue being a better person as you grow, as you interact with others, when you're given opportunities to lead and you're getting that feedback. That calls for a lot of self-reflection as an individual. And then after that, looking into learning more who you are. And there are all these things. I mean, there are many 100 ways of, there are hundreds and thousands of tests that people can take, but it all leads to the same thing. You want to know yourself. And really aptitudes of emotional intelligence cannot be underestimated. So you know yourself, you reflect back, and then you come and say, hey, I'm a real logical. May I throw caution to the wind and stuff like that. So then you know what comes naturally to you, and you're able to know your mission in life. That's how I've come to understand it. Because then you have to, before you craft a mission statement, because then how would you craft a mission statement without knowing who you are? You'll only be able to do that once you understand who you are, and asking for feedback and getting into the right kind of opportunities for you to drive yourself and to really look at yourself in a bigger way, whatever. And I'm saying, no, I'm not talking about greatness. Everybody is great in their own way, but what can you be known for in your inner circle? What does your inner circle, if you were to leave your inner circle, would they say, oh my gosh, yeah, something destabilized us? So that's something before you come into really achieving your life mission and something like that. It has to work, but every day we are work in progress. That's the thing. We are not perfect human beings, and we should cut some slack for ourselves. Sometimes it's never that serious. We shouldn't just be so fixated on becoming perfect. We should do things that we enjoy, that come with ease. I help you, Patricia. Not sure. I've spoken too much. You are my trail
Yes,
of thought.
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I think knowing yourself also gives you insights of the reason for your being, very true, which then helps you to know your life mission and purpose. Yeah, definitely. Who are you? And many other, there are the inside colors. Some people are red, some people are yellow, some people are green, some people are blue. There are many, but it leads to the same thing. It almost it talks about what careers you can pick, what you excel in, how you excel in a team, how a team sees you. So it's important for us to be able to do that. And then after that, saying what kind of organization working, what kind of teams I would like to lead. And now, do you know what? Nobody wants to lead teams, especially the technical people. That's what we'll be battling with as HR in the coming years. People don't want to manage others. Oh, now what's going to happen? People are shying away from managing others. So I don't know what has happened. People just want to say, well, I'm happy to work in a team. I deliver more. But working in a team is much more difficult to me being able to work on my own. So again, for HR, preemptive. If someone comes and says, I don't want to manage a team anymore, well, what's going to happen? So it's important for us to do that. So if you have looked at that, where do you find yourself? You found yourself in these 5 quadrants. Are you a rectangle? Are you a square? Are you a triangle? Are you a circle? Or are you zigzag? Anyway, yeah. So predominantly, that's where we are. Okay. So tips on setting as we wind down. 10 tips on goal setting. Someone told me, Catherine, don't hard on yourself when you set goals. And I think that's true when you think about goals. It doesn't have to start at the beginning of the year. You can start anytime. It doesn't have to start on your birthday. When you make a decision and a commitment, start and run with it. Of course, maybe want an anniversary to hold us accountable or whatever. But sometimes we are so fixated in starting at a particular time because it's a big milestone at the end of the year, at your anniversary or something that was very significant, a significant date in your lifetime or something like that. There's no right or wrong time at a goal and setting a goal. They must be achievable. They must be ambitious, but achievable. You must make a list of your goals. Discuss your goal with your partner, or your partner could be anyone, your spouse, your manager, your colleagues, your friend who will hold you accountable. Ensure that you set your own goals. Let nobody set goals for you, even at the workplace. You know the strategy, you know the organization strategy, the department strategy, you know your job description, you know what you're capable of. Set your own goals and go and discuss, hey boss, isn't your honor? These are the goals that are very dear to me and challenging. Set deadlines for each goal. Carry with what is on your list of goals. Be flexible when planning for your change. And we have said that give up things that are barriers to your goals, things which are, sometimes we even have to drop some friends for us to be able to achieve our goals. Is that difficult? Yes, it is. Will people feel bad because we have dropped our way? Yes, it is. Are there some habits that you really must drop for you to be able to achieve goals? Yes, you must. Is it difficult? Is it painful? Yes, it is. If you really want to achieve your goals, there must be some sacrifices that you have to make along the way. Be careful with whom you share your goals with. That's what we say. That's sometimes visualizing how your goals are going to look like and who's going to achieve. Okay. Acting. Any question? Any question? Acting on your goals. How do we act on our goals? We go to ways of achieving our goals. Any questions? Any comments? So we all know this. I won't even belabor that. Let's do this. Let's go through it. It's things that we already know. Acting on our goals, once we set a goal, there could be 5 goals. There could be one big goal. And sometimes when even at the coaching level, people come with many goals. I want to achieve these goals. I want to achieve these goals. And they could actually be 5, but what are you prioritizing? And sometimes when I think about when we start discussing those goals and articulating them more and writing them down and someone thinking about it, you just realize that we can compress that goal into one that really is the big one. This is what, and those are sub goals. So be very deliberate in terms of how you choose a goal, so that if there are sub sectors of it, you could be 5, and then you start breaking down into achievable goals. So it is important to begin with your overall long term and then break it down into a series of smaller goals. Take each smaller goals in turn and brainstorm all the possible actions that you will need to take to achieve each goal. You know, the smaller sub goals of what it is there. And remember to celebrate successes. That's what we don't, sometimes we are not good at. I've achieved this, I always procrastinate this year. One of my goals is I'll try change this behavior of procrastinating. And when you achieve that goal of putting out the project in good time or the report out in good time, celebrate those small wins. It motivates you. So sometimes you just think, okay, it's rather obvious. If it's a goal, celebrate it. Let it be very logical. Begin with the end in mind and see who's going to support you. On acting on your goals, try to visualize the outcome, what you're going to, how will it make you feel? How will it make you feel? It will make you feel very happy, isn't it? It will make you feel achieved. It will make you feel that you can do it. You have the potential, and you just begin. Why didn't I start a long time ago? It's not even hard, think positive, and when negative people come around you, meander around them. And by the time umeenda, umefika, and you have actually done what? You have actually come out stronger in terms of what are individuals always trying to achieve? Anybody who would like to read for us? A goal. It is what an individual is trying to accomplish. Look, at the end, it looks big, as we go on and whatever, directed to one's personal attention. Let's have a look at this critically and see whether there are things that we've been able to do. The big ring is encourage the development of goal attainment strategies or plans, whether at the corporate level, encourage development. And the line manager's work is to help individuals and encourage them to make their own goals. You remember where I said you write the goals and then you email them and say, this is what I want you to work on. There is no ownership. There is no sustainability. Encourage people. We want to set new goals this year. What goals are you setting, Catherine, for yourself this year? You go think about it. Let's come and discuss. And then increase one's, persistence in those goals because they are challenging, they're exciting, increase. You're telling someone, persist in achieving those goals. In fact, take a picture of this quadrant and write it and place it in your office. That goals must be written down by the individuals. It is not the line manager. Of course, they know whatever and discuss them. You might also be off tangent from what is expected to be achieved by your position and by the company. But you are not foolish enough not to set goals which are in line with what you are able to achieve and what you're capable of achieving and what will support and bring success to the business. That's the same thing for your own personal goals. Increase persistent. I really want to achieve this. Regulate one's effort, regulating one's effort. If things are changing, how are we going to regulate that? The circumstances, the environment has changed, be able to look at that and say, well, we need to regulate. If it's not working well, we need to go back to the drawing board. Directs one's attention to all the goals. If we are individuals, Everybody has to have their own goals. Own goals, own your own decisions and circumstances get yourself into. Even at that level, as much as we are working in a team, needs to know that even when it's a team goal, I'm still expected to support, contribute, and make myself committed to achieving that. Any questions? So the last of the slides, as I go very quickly, ways to achieve your goals, huge goals, visualize your dreams, transform your passion into a career. You see, do what you love and then money will follow you. Might not be a lot of money, but you feel, oh my gosh, money can actually follow me. So that is whatever. Okay, we need to visualize your goals. I like what Larry Osline said. First, you must test your own vision, touch your own vision, feel your own vision, emotionalize your own vision, and finally own your own vision. Before you go and apply for a job this year to a new company, have your own goals, visualize your own goals, and if those goals you go and say, this company I'm going to apply for, but their goals do not resonate with mine, maybe it's not somewhere that you need to go because they will lose you off track. I'm not saying that jobs are not good, jobs are many, and sometimes maybe that is what, are you able now to change? Who should change their goals for the other? In fact, that's a good question. Who changes? Who should change their goals for the other? In the real sense of the word, logically and practically? Is it the company or is it you? And ideally, how should it be? What's the difference between a goal and a target? It's a good question. Who should change? Is it the company or you? That's a good question. We'll answer it, Derito. Patricia, who should change the course for the other? Rose, who should change? And what is the ideal? What's our ideal?
I think, like we said, there should be some flexibility. Both the organization and the employee should be able to meet at a certain point so that you're meeting your organization's objectives and you as an individual are also able to achieve your own goals.
Very true. They should be. So should not be the ones always bending backwards to accommodate what the company. Remember that we are here. We both need each other. That's what we understand, is that we both need each other. Remember when you interviewed me and asked your goals, what do you want to achieve as an individual? That should be referenced back. Have they changed? Are we accomplishing that, Catherine? That we are helping you hard enough for you to be able to do that? You know, where are you at with your personal goals? Do you feel that we are stretching you and we are supporting you? If we are not asking those questions, we are not helping individuals in organizations. Let people be able to aspire to be who they are. If we're able to, and good. If we are not able to do that, be very clear that we might not be meeting that, and we need to change the course and we need to do more. So flexibility is important. One should not be bending over for the other, because then that psychological contract starts getting broken. I start getting demotivated. And finally, I really do not care. And the next thing I'm doing is looking for another organization to go and work in who will be able to support me in my personal goals. Okay. What's the difference between a goal and a target? Someone? Difference between a goal and a target? Yeah, true, very true. individual, just let me read some things I have. I think the individual should be flexible. What we said, the discussion between, for example, if the organization values profit over personal development, it may become hostile working environment if the culture is really cutthroat. Very true, Victoria. Yeah. And the thing is that, you know, the people agenda, PPP, should be people. And you have to change that narrative. And then it should always be people, planet, and profit. But guess what organizations have done? They have made it profit, or even change the narrative for profit, planet, and people. People always last. People should always be first. Okay. So what's the difference between a goal and a target? Used interchangeably. Your targets for this year are this. Your goals for this year are this. Your key performance indicators are this. Your key result areas are this. Very used interchangeably. Is there a distinct difference between a goal and a target? Rose, Cosmas, Betty, Faith, Winnie? Feel they're used interchangeably, or is there a distinct difference? Target can be a milestone while working towards a goal. Target can be a milestone.
A target has a value. A goal is, well, it could also have a value, but it's an objective more of.
A goal is an objective, what I want to achieve.
And then a target is the specific thing. So this year I want to write a book. That is a goal. This year I want to write 2 books. That's a target.
Okay, good example. Someone else? This year I want to lose weight. The target is to lose 30 kilos, isn't it? Yes. So specific, being very, very, yeah, okay, I can see that, yeah. So the target, you can break it down into a goal is the framework. And then inside there are targets, you know, of what it is. Is that clear? So working towards that, breaking it down into tangible things which you can actually see and the results that you are being able to achieve. And then in the end, you say, I achieved my goal. My goal was to lose weight, become more. My goal is to enjoy fitness, is to become a more physically fit person. So one of the targets that I have set is to lose weight. Or one of the targets I have set is to stop sugar gradually. I used to put 3 spoons of sugar in my cup of tea. Now I want to gradually, this 1 month I will do and reduce with 1 spoon. And I have specifically, and you have to be truthful to your target. Some of these things, there's no falling off. I saw another one that days, hey, enjoy, you know, our cheat day. Be deliberate and very hold yourself accountable. I am gradually going to stop sugar in the next 6 months. You know, I'll be putting 2.5, you know, small. Don't be overzealous. I mean, cold turkey does not work most of the time. It has to be gradual. Everything is gradual. Even you do not become an expert in 1 day. You do not become an expert in 1 day. You have to build it over hours. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Okay. So that's how it is. So let's continue. Like those questions. Ways to achieve your targets. Again, overcome your fears, build real wealth through self-education, put family ahead of work. I see people who have lost their jobs and because they were never there, regret and say, I wish I knew, you know, family will always first, put family first. Family will come through for you and build strong relationships. I'm not saying that Some families are not perfect, and some families are real dysfunctional, but be the mature one that you'll be able to do that. Yeah. Okay. Execute your plan daily, become an entrepreneur, focus on your health and nutrition. You know, these are things, and I keep saying we are reminding ourselves. So the other day, the entrepreneurship class, the lecturer asked, what's the difference between a business person and an entrepreneur? Ooh, most of us are just business people. By the time you become an entrepreneur is someone who has employed people. They can go out of their business for 6 months without losing a heartbeat, and their companies are sustainable. So we all entrepreneurs, but the real meaning of being an entrepreneur is that your business is able to whatever. So most of us who have a side hustle, as we are just business owners. You know, we own a business. How about now putting it to the next level of becoming an entrepreneur completely, and your SME is known, continuously grow to the next level. Successful goal setting and achievements. I'll go pretty first now. So that's it. We will not belabor. It's what we have saying about the whatever. So well-formed goal statements, breaking goals into manageable steps, the targets that we have talked about. Motivation and commitment has to be there. Reminders and keeping track of it from time to time. You can even have an accountability body, frequent reviews and assessment, like any other thing in the organization. You know, we have the mission statements. We make sure that we are tracking the goals, and continuous assessments and use, and going back to the drawing board if it is not doing what, if it is not working. Okay. Goal success, accept and support yourself. Self-appreciation and self-acceptance. Loving yourself is one of the secrets to goal success. You know, sometimes we doubt ourselves. We have that fear. We have no self-confidence. We say, what if I fail? I will feel bad about it. Only if you try will you know that you will fail. Without trying, you will not know whether you're going to succeed. There are many things that we have done and we have failed, as in we thought we would be successful, but we come out wiser and we come out better. We're able to re-strategize. How can I do this better, and how can I become more successful and not fail? So let's learn from our mistakes as well. Mistakes are not bad as well. I love organizations which come and say, innovate, be creative. Even if we fail quick and fast, let's pick ourselves and go on. We are not saying that we deliberately make mistakes, but companies which are agile, companies which are progressive, do not dwell on you made a mistake, you know, because we're empowering you. People want to be empowered. We are saying explore, empower yourself, look at it. It might not work. And even if sometimes it costs us time, it costs us money, okay, it's part of the learning process, but you're not making deliberate mistakes. I don't think even in your own goal setting and some of the things that you want to achieve, you will make deliberate mistakes. That is far from the truth. The truth is that sometimes you want the best, but it does not work. Go back, regroup, and see what happened, debrief, and come out stronger. When you are moving, anxious towards achieving your goal, it is very important to appreciate yourself for the progress you're making. There may be times when you are falling short of the planned daily routine plans and even going backwards. This is right time for your self-appreciation and okay, I said I won't take sugar this week. I had a sugar moment and okay, fine, it's not that bad. Call myself to a meeting and say, well, I failed, it is okay. What made me do that? And just see the trigger. Look at what makes you do that and work on that trigger for you not to do whatever. Self-criticism and judgment will not help you to get where you want. Self-appreciation will always take you to the next level. Okay, great. Last one, we'll not go through the goal setting case study. I'll skip that because it was going to be on the whatever. I would want to recap on what we have discussed and then be Open it for plenary for questions and answers. Okay. I'll go to the last of the slide. Allow me just, these are very specific, whatever. So just go back to summary and say, we have said that there are three goals. There's a short-term goal, there's a medium-term goal, and there's a long-term goal. Personal goal setting helps you to move steadily towards achieving the results you really want. Personal setting helps you to boost your self-esteem, self-confidence, believe in your abilities and make things happen, and you feel that you're in control. Goal setting helps you reduce stress and anxiety, makes you to become more focused on your goals, and finally, it shows more self-control, more self-confidence as you perform at the task that you are doing. Okay, so I want to stop there in the interest of time. We've already, whatever, the case study would be just, if you had time, you can go and look at it. It's how do you set goals? What do you do? And stuff like that. So I'd like to for questions and answers, for feedback, and for us to be able to look at what we have learned. Was it useful? Was it necessary? What is the one thing that you are taking this webinar? And I'll be happy to take your feedback. Okay, so I'll stop share and go back to plenary before we announce the 8th symposium that is coming up pretty soon. Questions, answers, comments? Was it useful? Was it necessary? Was it good use of your time this morning? Did you learn something that you're going to take back for your own personal self-growth, for your own personal growth and for your career growth? Take back to your organization some of the things that you will be going to implement. Anything? Anyone before we call it a day? Anyone? Yes, Derito.
It's just a comment.
Yeah.
In regard to what we were talking about, the goals, about the organization being flexibility, I've ever seen someone actually like a head of HR working in a certain organization and says that she cannot be able to cope with the organization because most of her ideas that she was giving the organization in order for them to be able to stabilize, due to some issues that were there, their organization could not accommodate them. Neither were they being flexible at all. So whatever ideas she was suggesting, the organization was saying, no, they are not in line with our mission, vision, and statement of the organization. So she really had a very hard time for her to be able to work within that organization. And at the end of the day, when she resigned, later some years back, the organization started showing the importance of her being in the organization. What can you say about that?
Good question. Where your ideas are not readily embraced by management. You know, I keep on things that people who owns organizations. If I'm even the owner and I have decided to employ experts to come and support me in running the organization, shouldn't I value them even if I'm really the owner of the organization? Leave even those small organizations. So let's talk about even big organizations where none of us is an owner of that organization. We are all employees, from the CEO to the janitor. We all bring in our expertise. And sometimes ideas not even from HR or any other person are not embraced for the greater good of the people. It actually can become very debilitating and you leave. And in the future, you say, oh, that someone really had some very good insights of what it was. Unfortunately, there is no right or wrong. What is the agenda? And sometimes apt use of emotional intelligence. What am I trying to bring change in this organization? What kind of change is required? And it can be very well meant, but nobody is seeing it. What do? Either I leave the organization or I try and influence some people who are of the same mind. Not everybody will actually be different. How about even starting from my own department and showing the successes around it, and now start incrementally going out there, and people will say, now your department in Yewe, they have something to offer. And I brought it back, and maybe whatever. Sometimes it is difficult, it will take a long time. And if you see that it's actually frustrating you and people are fighting you off, then the best thing sometimes is just to leave and say, it was meant for the best intention, but it's not working for me. I think the most important thing is that what you are trying to implement, is it in line with the strategies and vision and mission of the organization? If it is too far-fetched, then there will be resistance. And the top always helps and say, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you guys think? Do you think we are? And sometimes asking people, even in a town hall meeting or even in surveys, and say, what changes do you want to see? It helps. So let's also be very thoughtful around some of the good things, but implement it. Time is everything. Timing is everything in an organization. So don't work in silos. Have people who already bought into your vision to be able to drive it. But if you are the only one driving it and not people seeing, you'll become frustrated and want to go away. So there's no one right. Depends with the culture of the organization, the reception of top management. If start small. If you're able to ask questions, if people really want those kind of programs brought into the organization, it helps. There are many ways to skin a cat. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you, Dan, thank you, Nerito, for that. Anybody else? Thank you, Victoria. Take it away. We want everybody to shine. We want everybody to make goals. Yeah. Any other question? Thank you, Dan, for letting us know that we can get the notes, the video, and the certificates on the online. So before we call it a day, anybody would like to say anything? Was it useful? Okay. So just as we end, is that I would like to announce that the 8th annual HR Symposium will be held between 22nd and 25th February. It will be in Mombasa. We will definitely be reaching out and announcing it in the various platforms. The theme will be very interesting as ACHRP is preparing that. They will soon announce it, and look out for it. And we hope that as many of you will be able to attend for networking, for learning, for personal growth, for career progression, and also making sure that we are all as HR practitioners maybe on our valuable CPD points. That is also one of the things that we do, that we want to do that. So thank you all for this webinar. I hope to see you in other subsequent ones together with my other trainers, and have a very good weekend, and God bless you. Bye for now. Yeah. Thanks. Bye.